Hey gang, I've been a real estate investor since 2006, and I've been an entrepreneur since ninth grade in high school. I've never had a job, never borrowed money from a stinky banker. I always use creativity and imagination. Today's session is about which is more riskier, being a wholesaler, being a fix and flipper, or collecting mailbox money as a landlord. So let's dive in. Now, this is just my opinion, but I think that being the landlord is the most safest aspect of all these three things, okay? But wholesaling is the least riskiest because you have the least amount of money invested in the deal. But now, fix and flips are the worst, the riskiest, in my opinion. So let's dive in with fix and flips. Why are they so risky? Because the margins are so small. Because the fudge factor. What is the fudge factor? I buy a house, I tear down the wall, and oh my God, there's a body in there, right? The fudge factor. There's a lot of different stuff that can go wrong that we don't foresee, all right? The other thing that makes it really risky is that if you're new or mid-level, then the risk of probability of making errors in your estimate, in your buying, in your pricing, in your reselling increases, right? So it makes it even more riskier, okay? Now, the other bad thing about fix and flips is you gotta buy it right. If you don't buy it at a deep enough discount, okay, then you are literally hanging yourself. You're working for free, or worse, you're losing money to do the deal, okay? The other worst thing about, fix and flips, which I don't like at all, and I think is very, very risky for new or mid-level, is that you have to have a great understanding of construction. You got to know how labor works. You got to know, where to get the equipment like ACs and flooring and plumbing and all that stuff, right? And you also have to understand, how to give great estimates. Like, you got to be like a general contractor. Now, if your background is a general contractor, then more power to you. But the average individual that, maybe is in sales or in marketing or in customer service or, stuff like that, bro, it's going to be extremely hard to learn how to become a general contractor and give estimates correctly, okay? Now, the other problem is that you're at the mercy of all these other ICs, independent contractor, the roofer, the plumber, the whatever you need for that project, right? So now fix and flips are very glamorized because it's very easy. You can have it before and you can have it after. It's a very simple, clear-cut, cookie-cutter, deal. Like, here's the before, here's the after, right? And, and it's short. So people like in our society, in the microwave society, in the I want a quick pill society to lose weight, we want fast stuff. Anything that takes a long time, well, it's not worth it for us, man. We live in America, right? But this is why fix and flips have made a name for themselves, because they're quick, they're fast, you can see instant results. But in my opinion, and from what I've seen coaching a lot of people, is this is where they lose a lot of money. They'll lose their savings. They'll get into major amount of debt. They have to file bankruptcy because there's so many factors they have to go through to compute to get the deal right, okay? Now, let's talk about wholesaling. Now, I've coached thousands of students now in wholesaling. I think that wholesaling is on the spectrum. Fix and flip is the most riskiest, and I think wholesaling is the most safest in a sense that you don't really put any money into it, right? You can do deals with zero money. Now you got to put your time into it, because there's two ways to make money in America. Okay, you need money to make money, and everybody knows that, or you need creativity and imagination, which requires, leg work, which requires footwork, which requires the muscle, right? And that requires time. So in America, what makes the grass so green is because you could make money with no money, but you got to put the work into it. Or you got to just do like every other country, just have money to make money. Now that we got that cleared away, wholesaling, you can make money with no money, but you got to put a lot of footwork into it, all right? The other thing is you don't have a skin in the game, you know what I mean? You're just like I don't want to say a real estate broker or a real estate agent, because you don't have the certifications, and according to the state right? But in a sense, you're kind of like acting, like that, even though you're the principal, because you're doing the contract, and you're saying that you're going to buy this deal and then you're going to sell your positioning to another investor. But in essence, you don't have really skin in the game. You know what I mean? You're not putting thousands of dollars down in escrow. You're not putting thousands of dollars down in fixing it and flipping it. You're not putting anything. You're just finding motivated sellers, signing a piece of paper, and then selling your positioning or assigning it to another investor that's going to do the closing for you, right? And for that, you'll get an assignment fee, right? But what I don't like about wholesaling is it's like the rat race. You're always there. It's like a job, right? It's like being a personal trainer. If you don't have clients, you're not making money. If you don't have deals, you're not making money. So you're always looking for deals. Now, there's a lot of benefits of being a wholesaler. Don't get me wrong. You can do it anywhere. You can be a nomad. You can work from your computer. You can go from state to state. You can do it virtually. You could be living in Texas and doing deals in California. Whatever you want to do, right? You don't need a lot of capital. Now, it doesn't hurt to have marketing money. The more marketing money you have, the easier life becomes. But there's two ways to get deals: with paid marketing and free, guerrilla marketing, right? But you're not going to need hundreds of thousands of dollars for purchasing the property. You don't have to get into debt hundreds of thousands of dollars. You don't need the money to fix it, right? The capital to repair the property. Nor do you need to have the money for holding it, like being a landlord where you're just holding it for weeks or months till you find a tenant, etc. Okay? So wholesaling is the least riskiest, and you probably make the least amount of money, right? But you have the least risk, okay? Now, wholesaling is very good because you learn the whole business. You learn from, buying the deal to the exit strategy. You got to learn how to become a general contractor in a sense, and kind of give a rough estimate what the price of an AC is going to go for, the flooring is going to cost you, the plumbing is going to cost you. So you're going to kind of learn that, right? So I think that it's much better to become a wholesaler and then become a fix and flipper, because you're able to get these deals, make these contract estimates. Like, I think it's going to cost me 25 grand. And then you sell it to Bob, the investor, and then you follow up with Bob in 6 months and say, okay, what was the actual cost of the repair, Bob? And you'll see. And then you say, okay, damn, I was off by $15,000, so I got to fix myself, right? And you can adjust that. And you can say, well, how long did it take you to flip this property for repairs? How long did it take you to sell it once you put it on the MLS? And then you can, adjust and learn, right? And then it's kind of like being an apprentice without having someone as a master over you that teaches you how to do it. You're kind of like self-apprenticing, okay? So wholesaling is good because it teaches you how to negotiate, how to find deals, how to do the marketing, how to do the sales, how to do the closing, how to do the exit strategy without requiring big chunks of money, without requiring big chunks of commitment, without requiring maintenance money and all that good jazz, closing costs and all that good jazz to go with it, okay? Now, being the landlord, I think, is somewhere in the middle, okay? Because one of the reasons I like being a landlord is that even if you make a mistake and you pay over the asking price, you're still okay, right? You're still okay. Why do I say that, okay? Well, you would not be okay with that if you were a fix and flipper. You would lose money. With the wholesaling, you would lose money too. You wouldn't be able to flip that contract, right? But as a landlord, if your exit strategy is I'm going to pass this to my kids, or if your exit strategy is I'm going to wait around to the next cycle boom 10, 15 years from now, then more than likely, like 99% of the time, even if you pay $10,000, $15,000 above the asking price, you made a mistake of, and not buy a good deal, you're going to usually be okay in that long range, 10, 15 years plus, okay? Why? Just simply put, because how much money Big Brother is printing, okay? That in itself, inflation, okay? The other thing is appreciation, right? Like most of these homes, if you're buying it correctly, like I teach, they're going to appreciate. If you're buying a nice school systems, you buy a lot of jobs, they're going to appreciate. So I never buy property because of appreciation. I only buy it for cash flow. But it's something to always consider as, possible cherry on the top. But I don't like dessert, so I don't even think about the cherry. But it's always there. Like, hey, I'm getting my ass is going up because Big Brother's printing. My ass is going up because of appreciation, and meanwhile, I'm getting massive cash flow. So that's why I say that you can overpay a little bit, even if you make a mistake. Now, you don't ever want to overpay for anything. You want to get at a deep discount, of course. Okay, but I'm saying if you made a mistake, you're a rookie, you got it too emotional, you're still okay. Okay. Now, most important thing with a rental property is the cash flow. It's like after I clear the mortgage, how much money am I going to get, right? Okay, and the mortgage could be like the seller owns this house clear and clear, and any seller finances for you, or the mortgage could be the existing seller's mortgage that you're just stepping into their shoes and making the monthly payments. It doesn't matter, okay? That's one of the main things is what is my monthly cash flow, right? And how quick am I able to rent this property out, right? And can I get good tenants in here? So those are your questions. But I think that being a landlord, it is risky because you increase your liabilities. Like someone can slip and fall and sue you, or your renters can do something stupid and come after you in your property. So there are risks with it as well, right? But I think that it's the one in the middle, and it's the one that has the most cushioning for your errors, right? Because like if I buy a property and I only make $100 positive cash flow, I didn't do the math correctly, I only make $100 a month. In 2 or 3 years, because Big Brother's printing so much money, because of all the freaking wars, because of all the inflation, now I'm going to be making more than $100 a year, guaranteed, right? Plus, rental cash flow is always protected, hedged against inflation. So, that's the good thing, right? Where if I did the fix and flip, or if I did the wholesaling, man, I am just screwed. You know what I mean? I thought the house was worth this, but it's really worth this. I'm at a loss from the beginning, dude. I thought the repairs were 30 grand, but now they're 60 grand. Well, I'm lost in the beginning, right? So I thought it's going to take me 3 months to fix and flip it, but it's taking me a year to fix and flip it because of all the repairs, all the fudge factor. Well, dude, I just hang myself. Okay. So I think that, being a landlord is right in the middle of the risk, but it has the most cushion for forgiveness. And I think that new investors, I can't get financial advice, but for me, I thought being a landlord was the best thing for me, right? Because I could learning eventually what the cost of repairs are, roofing, AC, as I've gone through it. I will learn, about cash flow, how to buy deep, how to create seller financing. I will learn about the eviction process. So I got to learn a whole lot of stuff, right? The psychological aspects of renters, what to look for when I'm dealing with renters, and I didn't have to put a whole lot of time in it, because, owning businesses and, I didn't want to sit there and be a cold calling and be a wholesaler, right? Because that's a full-time fledged business. Same thing with being a fix and flipper. That's a full-time business. I have to make sure my contracts are there every day, make sure they finish their job correctly. If not, I am the one that's going to lose. They're getting paid regardless, right? So babysitting, there's a lot of babysitting going on with those two options. And I thought that being the landlord was the most passive mailbox money possible, because I was doing so many different things in my own business, all right? And so that's another reason why I like, this business, because, and I call it in the middle because it's not very labor intense. If you make mistakes, there's a lot of forgiveness, there's a lot of cushioning in it. And usually you can ride any mistake out. It's kind of like holding Bitcoin. Let's say, in the last crash, you bought Bitcoin at the very top. Well, guess what, dude? If you just huddled it, right now, Bitcoin is 80,000, 100,000. It was 30,000. Well, dude, you just made some serious gains just by huddling. And I feel like being a landlord is the same thing. By you just huddling it, all your errors or mistakes will be forgiven. You know what I mean? As long as you huddle it long enough and you have positive cash flow. Now, I would never do a deal in the rental business if I got zero or negative cash flow. I would never do that deal. That would be the dumbest thing to do, in my opinion. Now, I know a lot of guys that will buy negative equity properties or negative cash flow properties. They're two different things. Negative equity and negative cash flow are two different things. I bought properties that have negative equity. That means that if I sold it that day, I would lose money, but I'm not selling it. I'm buying it for rental. But the interest rate was so much, it was splitting $600 a month in positive cash flow. Yeah, I'll do that, right? I don't give a shit. And that same property waited around 7-8 years, now it's appreciated 100K. You know what I mean? So that's why I brought it up. There's negative equity and there's negative cash flow. There's two different things. I will do properties that have negative equity if it doesn't need any repairs, it's a near home, I'm cash flowing like crazy, right? I don't give a shit. I'm not buying to fix and flip it. I'm not buying to sell it real quick. I'm buying it to hold on to it, right? And it's giving me $600 a month cash flow just by me buying it, right? Yeah, absolutely, right? But if that deal was like negative equity or positive equity, let's say I had positive equity, but I have to lose $500 a month, absolutely not. Absolutely not. Now, some people say, well, it depends on how much equity it has, and but like, dude, it just doesn't make a whole lot of sense, right? Because if you're buying it as a rental, you're not trying to sell it immediately, or you can refinance it, I guess, to get your money out. But again, I'm not a banker's guy. I like to live free. I don't believe in that. I believe that debt is slavery, but to each his own. I'm not trying to tell you what you should do. This is just my personal belief system. Anyways, guys, I hope this helped out. Don't take no for an answer. Always remember, you're braver than you believe, stronger than you seem, smarter than you think, and twice as beautiful as you imagine. Romy. Peace, guys.